The Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority Board of Directors meeting. Today is Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. The time now is 6:05 p.m. and we'll get started with roll call.
President Thompson.
Present.
Vice President Duffy.
Here.
Secretary Flores.
Here.
Director Anderson.
Here.
Director Kirkland. Director Baker.
Okay, thank you. We'll get started with our agenda as follows. Item 1, we've already called our meeting to order. Item 2, we've done our roll call. And item 3, do we have any citizen comments? Not tonight? Okay, thank you. Item 4 is approval of the minutes. Consider approval of the BCRUA meeting minutes for September 22nd, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second. Very good. We have a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Item 5, item 5A, consider a resolution authorizing the president to execute supplemental agreement number 11 for the BCRUA Phase 2 raw water delivery system bid phase services with Walker Partners and Freeze and Nicholls joint venture.
Thank you, Madam President. To present this item, we have Aaron Archer here from Walker Partners.
Good evening. The supplemental amendment for bid phase services that you have assumes the use of competitive sealed proposal or CSP procurement, which had previously been authorized by this board. CSP is going to allow us to evaluate not just cost when we look at these contractor proposals, but we can also look at qualifications to result in a best value selection in this process, not just a low cost selection. Given the size of the project, the complexity of the project, and the steps required to go through a CSP evaluation, the schedule for bid phase services is estimated to be 7 months, which is a little bit longer than you would typically see for these type of projects, which would take us from advertisement, which is scheduled for the beginning of November, all the way to the award and notice to proceed for the contractor. CSP is part of the process. We'll have the qualifications, the contractor submit to us qualifications, experience, their project approach and understanding. And it's inherently difficult when you put together a bid phase services proposal to estimate the level of effort that will be involved. We don't know at this point how many contractors will propose on the project. The contractors will also have the opportunity to submit alternate proposals, which we would then need to evaluate as a design team because they're proposing alternatives in construction that were not in the contract documents. So that level of effort for us at this point is an unknown. As we move through the evaluation of those proposals from contractors, there's also opportunities for additional meetings to gain better understanding of their proposal and negotiation before we end up with an award. So we have, given some of the unknowns in the bid phase services effort, put that together as a time and materials, compensation with a not to exceed limit. Any funds not used in this particular authorization would then roll forward into the construction phase services effort.
I had a question. You said it would go out into November, beginning of November?
We're scheduled to try to go out at the beginning of November, contingent on the Texas Water Development Board approving those contract documents. Okay. So right now we're just waiting on them.
And then that window for all bids to be received ends when?
The end of February is what we have scheduled, assuming that we get to advertise on time and per our schedule.
And this size of project, I mean, it seems like a good size project to me, but I mean, is that going to, you think we're going to get a lot of interest in from not just Texas, but other parts of the country?
I absolutely believe we will. Contractor Outreach has been a major effort as we've been going through design phase for the last couple of years. There is a lot of contractor interest. We've done quite a few presentations at large national conferences to make sure that contractors understand what the project is and what our schedule is. So I do believe it's going to garner a good amount of attention.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Just one comment. As a consultant to myself who puts together fee proposals, this is a substantial sum of money for bid phase services. But I also understand what you've explained about the project uncertainty. It's certainly very conservative, but and if this was a lump sum contract, I might be more concerned about it. But given its time and materials and it's going to roll over, it makes it doesn't make me uncomfortable. So.
Good point. All right. Then do I have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. We'll move on to 5B, consider a resolution by the Board of Directors of the Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority, Inc., authorizing the issuance of Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority, Inc., City of Leander, Texas contract, revenue bonds, Brushy Creek Regional Water Treatment and Distribution Project, Series 2021, establishing the procedures for selling and delivering the bonds and resolving other matters incident and relating to the issuance, payment, security, sale, and delivery of such bonds.
Thank you, Madam President. We have here today BCRUA's Municipal Advisor, Gary Kimball from SPFI, to present this item.
Thank you. Good evening. You should each have in front of you a copy of the transaction summary that I'd like to walk you through, if I may. And these remarks will cover both 5B and 5C, but then you can act independently on each item. The graph on the front is a reflection of where rates were when rates were locked on the Texas Water Development Board bonds that were sold to fund the bond issues that we're considering tonight. So the importance of this is that, you can see that obviously we're very near the historical bottom. If you look up in the little metrics box under the GO column, percent of time rates were higher than they were when these bonds were priced was almost 95%. So we're in the bottom 5% of our historical experience in terms of the rates that are being passed along to both of these cities. Just as an aside, printed out today's version of this graph, and that same metric is at 88%. So the bond market has moved up sharply since these bonds were priced. You're going to get the benefit of the lower rates that were prevailing a month ago. So that's important. If you'll turn the page, what I'd like to do is walk you through the key metrics for each of the transactions that you'll be taking action on tonight. For Cedar Park and Leander, respectively, we're talking about $75.31 million worth of bonds for Cedar Park, $40 million even for Leander. The net proceeds are there, $74.98 million for Cedar Park, $39.859 million for Leander. The terms are different. One of the nice features of being able to sell separate obligations is that we can tailor the amortization to each city's needs. And Cedar Park chose a 30-year term, whereas Leander chose a 25-year term. The subsidies are different based on the term that is chosen. So the state of Texas, for this particular program under the Texas Water Development Board, does offer a subsidy for the interest rate. The Cedar Park subsidy is 14% below market, and the Leander subsidy, because it's a shorter term, is 18% below market, which then reflects itself in the rates that were finally locked in. Cedar Park's rate is 2.22%. And if you noticed on that first page, current market is 2.5%. So that's below market. But then the Leander deal, because of the higher subsidy, is 1.89%. We're anticipating funding, closing these deals on November the 16th. And you have representatives from both McCall, Parkhurst, and Horton, and Bickerstaff Heath, bond attorneys, if you should have any questions about the legals on this, but these obligations would be identical to those that the authority has already undertaken with the Water Development Board previously. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions or comments from the board?
So I know we're at historic lows, but in the future, if prices went lower, is there a chance to refinance this debt?
You have a 10-year call provision that the Water Board requires on all of their deals, so not for a period of 10 years.
We're all in trouble if it goes lower, but,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, they're bigger problems,
all right,
probably.
thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, moving on to item 5C. Consider a resolution by the Board of Directors of the Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority, Inc., authorizing the issuance of Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority, City of Cedar Park, Texas, contract revenue bonds, Brushy Creek Regional Water Treatment and Distribution Project, Series 2021, establishing the procedures for selling and delivering the bonds and resolving other matters incident and relating to the issuance, payment, security, sale, and delivery of such bonds. I make a motion to approve this item.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And now we are going to move into executive session. 6A, to consider an executive session as authorized by 551.071 of the Government Code related to the consultation with the board attorneys regarding the repair of the BCRUA 36-inch underwater pipeline and potential claims. Can I do 6B also? Yeah. Consider an executive session as authorized by 551.071 of the Government Code related to the consultation with the board attorneys regarding the proposed interlocal agreement with the Village of Valente. It is now 6:16, and we will convene into executive session. And we're back in session. The time now is 7:05 p.m. And for agenda item 7A, I move that the board authorize the general manager to request the board attorneys to submit a claim regarding the underwater pipeline repairs.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And for 7B, I move that the board approve the resolution authorizing the president to execute the interlocal agreement with the Village of Valente.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. We are on to our closing comments for tonight. Vice President Duffy, any closing?
Just thank you to everyone. Thank you to Karen and Aaron and all the city staff and everyone continuing working on this. We're going to get there, and my fingers will be crossed for Thursday night. Next Thursday, I guess, right?
Secretary Flores.
Well, thanks to the OC as well, and certainly want to extend our appreciation and thanks to the City of Valente for helping us get to this point. It has been time on both sides spent, but hopefully something that will serve both interest well into the future. So thank you and good night.
Very good. Director Anderson.
Yeah, I'd just like to say how great it is to see things moving in the right direction and looking like we're getting traction. So, yeah, thanks.
And Director Kirkland.
I'd just like to thank everybody for a productive meeting and thank all of the staff and engineers that have been working so hard on this project to support all three of us.
Thank you, everyone, for all the hard work. It's been a long time coming, and hopefully we're almost there. We'll get this approved. Thank you so much, and that is all we have for tonight.